I'm sitting here with my buddy Winston. Winston, who looks a little bit like Scooby-Doo. This is Winston's roadmap to success. He's gonna try to drink my water, but I'm gonna need that. It's been a hot day in LA here today. All right, so basically Winston is a rescue dog. He was rescued at LA shelter. He has only been here for a little over a week. And so for dogs, there's something called the 3 3s. And Winston, puppy, Winston. Winston! There we go, sit. There's something called the 3 3s for dogs, yes. So 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. So first 3 days, the dog's kind of in shock. 3 weeks, you're starting to see the dog's true personality. At 3 months, that's pretty much who they are. So we're really in the first of the, in between the first and the second of the 3s. And so we're gonna wait and see how he develops. He has a cat that he lives with. His guardian has been able to have multiple dogs with a cat though without meeting them. So he's in good shape. He's got a good guardian here. And he just obviously got neutered. So in about a week, she's gonna have her vet kind of check him out. All right, we started off by talking about marker words. His marker word is yes. So we say the marker word the instant the dog does the thing that we want, like chewing your treat pouch. No, that's not what we want. But so sit, yes, and then I pet. So basically the marker word, or the clicker is also a marker, comes the instant the dog does the thing you want, unless the thing you want has duration. So the guardian earlier was asking him to wait as she went down the stairs, and it didn't go very well. Now, if you want to teach your dog to do that, we have to. If you want to teach a dog to stay, we have to do it in short, little, successful iterations. And so basically, what I would do is, and it's hard because you got to walk backwards, but tell them to sit on the landing, sit, say stay, take a half step back, come back, yes, and give him a treat, and then stay, take a half step back, come back, say yes, and give him a treat. Stay, half step back, yes, treat. Full step back, stay, full step back, 1 step forward, yes, treat. And repeat that 3 times. And eventually then you're gonna do it 2 steps, 3 steps. Eventually you're walking down the steps where you're doing so backwards. Because when we're facing the dog, we're more engaging. The dog's more likely to kind of know that you're about to do it. And we're doing 1 step, then 2 steps, then 3 steps. Winston, Winston, puppy. Come here, buddy. How about we get you to sit down? Sit. Sit. Are you sitting? No, I couldn't see with the cone. Sit. Yes. Lure him down to a down. Yes. So you say the marker word the instant they do what you want, unless you want what you want as duration, like for stay. So if I'm saying stay and I take, eventually I worked up to 5 steps, I say stay, take the 5 steps, return back to him, say yes, because he did what I wanted, staying while I took 5 steps away, then I would give him the treat afterwards. Then I say stay, and then go back to 6, and then take 6 steps, 7 steps. Eventually you're walking all the way to the bottom, and then going all the way back to the top and saying yes and giving him that treat. Once you can achieve that a couple times in a row, then I would maybe say stay, walk to and then maybe turn and walk 1 step down the stairs. Turn around, U-turn, come back, yes, give him a treat, then eventually 2 steps. And I usually don't do 1 step in the stairs, then 2 steps, nope, then 3 steps and 4 steps. Do 1 step, repeat that 3 to 5 times. Then do 2 steps, repeat that 3 to 5 times successfully. And then eventually you get to the point where you can go all the steps all the way down, but you're doing it at his pace. A lot of us go too far, too fast, and we ask the dog to do things in a real world situation. So whenever you practice, there's a meme that says, practice is not an emergency.
Well, that's not your fault.
No, that's not. That's my treat pouch, and we don't want you chewing on that either. Practice is not an emergency. An emergency is not the time to practice. So he's overly tired right now. This has been a long day, and we're outside, and it's hot today in LA. So he's cranky, and when dogs get overly cranky, they often get mouthy like this. Normally, I wouldn't advise letting a dog gnaw on your arm. He's not doing it super hard. I know why he's doing it, and I want to do the video, so I'm kind of allowing that. But normally, you would redirect him into chewing on a toy or something like that. That's one of the other things we talked about is he likes to chew up on boxes and things like that. So what I'd like the guardian to do when he has a low value item, not a ball, but like a stuffed toy, quietly pull out a treat, walk up to him, touch it to his nose and don't say anything. Wait. The instant that he spits it out of his mouth to get the object, say yes and put the treat in his mouth. And after a while, he understands that if you come up and hold the treat here in front of my nose and I drop it, I get the treat, and I know that's what you wanted me to do. Drop it because you say yes after I drop it, then you put a treat in my mouth, And then you don't pick up my stuff. And we do this with low value items, so that way when he does steal our sock, our shoe, or remote control, something he doesn't want, careful, then we know that he is, and grab a treat and just do that find game that we did. So grab a treat and do that grab your treat bag, there you go, crinkle it, and then take a step over there, walk away, there you go. So he jumped up on the table. So if we say no, bad dog, then that gets him, then he's looking for, that gets him attention. All attention is trying to achieve something, and all attention is validated. Or all behavior is trying to achieve something, all attention is validated. Make sure you're throwing it over his head, and he's got the cone. So while he's got the cone, kind of lure him so he's throwing this direction and throw it in the direction so his eyesight can see it the whole time. Throw it over his head, he doesn't know where it goes. So there you go, throw it a little bit more on the grass. There you go. When he looks up, then throw it in front of him. Right there. Throw it in front of him, drop it right there. There you go. So the Find It game is a game where basically, and I like to do this to prepare dogs, he's a little bit reactive to cats as well as kids. So the Find It Away game is when we're on a walk, just all of a sudden for no reason, there's nobody around, no need to, and I find the dog, the guardian's right here, she holds a treat down, so I see it in front of my nose and she drops it and says find. I lick it up, the instant I lick it up, she says yes. Then she holds out another treat, and as the dog, I look up, I see the treat, and she says, find, and drops it 1 foot away. I turn, and I take 1 step, and when I lick it up, she says yes. Then when I'm looking, she throws it 2 feet away, then the next one 4 feet away. I just effectively got the dog redirected and moved 5 feet off of the path, wanting to do so because I'm getting the treat. Only do this when there's nobody around at first. So he gets used to doing this exercise, and so when you do the find game, he's like, oh, this is the part where you throw treats? So if you're walking down the street and you see a kid come out of somebody's house, you know he's gonna be barking at that person, and you turn him away and do a find here, 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 and the kid is where the camera is, you got him to turn around and walk away from it. Anytime your dog's reactive, the best thing to do is increase distance. Sometimes it's best to do that by doing the Find It game. Sometimes we have to move around a tree, a shrub, or a car so the dog can't see whatever the thing is. So when you're walking, be mindful of your environment. If you see somebody coming towards you, where are my escape routes? So if you're walking down, okay, there's a path here, there's a shrub here, I can walk around the car there. And so that way, if somebody pops out of a house or around the corner, you know where to go. But practicing that find game and saying yes each time the dog gets it, as you're on regular walks, prepares him for that time when somebody shows up and you want to redirect him, and he's happy to play that game because it doesn't mean the boogeyman's there. Okay, we also went over hand targeting. If I forget to link it here, message me. So hand targeting is we boop, and the dog touches his nose to our hand. And at first the progression is the dog turns his head, then leans his head, then takes 1 step, then takes multiple steps. And let's see if I can do one real quick here with him. Winston! Boop! Yes. So when he touches his nose, my hand, I say yes, his marker word, and then I put the treat on my hand. The guardian was going like this. Yes, and she was pulling her hand away. So boom, and then put the treat on that hand so he orientates towards the hand. This is a great exercise you can use. It helps for, you can teach your dog to walk with the loose leash by putting your hand. You can redirect the dog by doing this. Well, he's tired and cranky. He's not going to cooperate. He's looking for the treat pouch. And again, he's overly tired. A dog this size needs to sleep probably 13 to 16 hours a day. We've been at this for 3 hours. That's probably almost a third of the overall time that he should be awake today. So he's overly tired and cranky, just like kids when they get overly cranky, their behavior is not exactly what we want it to be. So he's gonna be nice and tired when we leave, but he's a little bit ornery here. Okay, so let me see, what else did we go over? We went over creative forms of exercise. I'd like to see the guardian get him like a snuffle mat, a couple treat dispensing toys. I like those as balls as opposed to like sliding puzzles, because dogs figure those out pretty quick, but a ball always rolls a little bit different. I also mentioned getting a lick mat. That's something that you can put down on the ground. And when the cat's out, so choose your times to get him around the cat. So when he's nice and relaxed, like he will be in an hour, that'd be a good time to have him in the living room with the cat there. There he's gonna grab one of his toys. Grab one of his toys and kind of throw it on the ground there. There you go. So you redirected him and gave him a chew toy, and now he's got something else to do. Now you handed it to him, get that one, shake it, and throw it over there. And then throw it. dogs would prefer to go chase something. So if we hand it to him, they're not gonna be as interested if we tease them a little bit and toss it. Now he's got that. Now she can play a little fetch or whatever it is. Okay, so teaching him, and when he, remember, that's would be a good time when he has that bear to pull out a treat quietly, go over and touch his nose, wait for him to drop. When he drops, say yes, put the treat in his mouth, and then tell him to sit. Right now she's playing fetch, so when I do that, I tell the dog, I hold up the ball and I say sit first. I'm not throwing the ball until you sit. That's just a good way to help the dog sit. Practice listening to me. So he sits, yes, then I say fetch and I throw it. I say fetch, the cue comes before the action. Then when he brings it back to me, then I ask him to drop. Yes. And then I give you the treat. I'm almost out of treats here, buddy. Then I pick up the ball and say fetch, tell him to sit, say fetch and throw it. So the idea is we're just building in a little bit of self-restraint, self-control. Yes, let's leave the treat pouch right where it is. And there we go. Go ahead and say fetch and throw it.
Sit.
There you go.
Sit.
Sit. Hold it up high. There you go. Fetch.
Fetch.
There you go. So redirecting the dog away from unwanted behaviors is more effective than saying no or pushing him away. Okay, so we went over also cooking in the corner.
Treats.
I sent the guardian a trick. We went over that's tossing treats on the ground. Practicing that one. Google scent games, SCENT. Having him use his nose to find treats or rewards or bait lures or whatever it is a great way to drain energy for dogs. Draining, if they use their nose, they're draining a lot of, it controls a lot of their brain, about 2/3 of their brain, and it's very energy draining. So that can help the dog feel a little bit more satisfied. Again, he's just tired as heck right now.
Come on.
So go ahead and say fetch and throw the ball.
Come on.
Just throw it. So
Fetch,
just say fetch and throw it.
Fetch.
Throw it. Come on, buddy. Go get that ball. Go fetch. Go get it. No, I'm not going to do that. Fetch. There you go. Movement attracts dogs' attention. Okay, so we also went over teaching him manners. So if he's pawing at me and saying, I want attention, sit. Let's not try to eat the training pouch. Sit. So he's, again, overly tired, but if he comes up and paws at me and I pet him, I'm rewarding him for pawing at me. So when he paws at you, tell him to sit one time. He has 2 seconds to sit. If he sits, say yes, and then pet him under his chin or on his chest or on his 2 shoulders. If he doesn't, fetch. If he doesn't sit, then go back to whatever it was you were doing. Don't punish him, but don't reward him with what he wants. After a while, he'll come start sitting in front of you to prepay for the attention. When he does, make sure you say yes and pet him. Also remember to try to pet under the chin and not on top of the head. And then this is essentially teaching him manners through that do-over concept that we talked about. Now, if we get to the point where he starts sitting on his own, make sure you celebrate that. Say yes and pet him. When he lays down, yes and pet him. When he drinks his water, yes and pet him. If you want to teach him to say that cocktails, careful, he's going to knock the camera over. Hey, buddy. So if you want to say cocktail, remember the cue comes before the action. So he goes to drink water. Right before he drinks water, say cocktail. And then he drinks water, then you say yes. So now cocktails means go and drink water. Yes, he's overly tired and cranky. We're gonna wrap this one up pretty quickly so you don't bite a hole in my pants. And so celebrating is the easiest way to train any dog. All it is we're rewarding him for doing the things that we want when he does them on his own. And so if we tell him to do something, then sometimes it's, well, I don't want to do what you told me to do. But if I sit, I come, I lay down, I drink water, I go to the dog bed, I give you eye contact, I'm more likely to do that because that got me a reward. On walks, remember, every time he looks at you,
Sit.
every time he looks at you on a walk, hold out that treat, make him come back to you. And there's so many treats on the table, he's like, this is a bonanza. But every time he comes back to you, or he looks at you, say yes, and hold the treat, he's got to come back to you. That's a foundational thing for loose leash walking. You might also keep an empty treat bag in your pocket. So if he starts getting distracted, you crinkle that bag, that'll get his attention. It's another nice way to redirect his attention. Now, the video above talks about the jumping. So remember to practice that. Create those scenarios and practice that when you don't need to. So that way, yes, you got a ball, huh? Sit. Sit. Yes. Fetch. So, so now you're practicing when you don't need to and setting him up for success. So now he knows how to behave at those times you needed to do it. Now we also went over loose leash walking. If you forget those techniques, message me. I don't have videos of me. I've got videos of doing some of those, but I can share videos of other trainers doing some of those techniques. But remember, when we're trying to teach a dog to do something, teaching them in the actual moment is the worst place to learn. So when you're doing these things, like the loose leash walking, the step when you're dropping the treat, remember, don't toss the treat at him. There we go, he finally laid down. Drop the treat between you and him. When he takes a step towards it, click right before he gets the treat. And as he's getting the treat, you're stepping backwards and your hand is down low. So when he looks up at you, it'll be easier when he doesn't have the cone. When he looks up at you, drop the treat to ground. If you find he's having trouble finding him, you were tossing the treats towards him. You want to drop the treat if there's 10 paces between you and me and the dog. I want to drop it at the 4th pace away from me. So 6 paces away from him. Then he walks towards the treat and I'm walking backwards. He's orientating towards me. I click before he gets to the treat. Then he looks up the treat. When he's looking at the treat, I'm taking a step backwards. My hand is down. And eventually I take 2 steps before I drop the treat, take 2 steps backwards, click before he gets it. And then he's got to come 2 steps towards me. So we're increasing that distance. When you get to and remember, you're practicing this in the house, until you can get to the point where you get about 12 to 20 paces where he's just following a nice line. So the camera's the dog, the treat's in between us, and I'm here. We don't want him squirting here, squirting over there. And exercising him a little bit before this is great, but practicing 5-minute practice sessions maximum, 3 times a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the middle of the day, 1 in the afternoon. We're conditioning him, getting him used to just orientating and following along with us. Remember, that next stage is when he is walking along with us. We take a step back, drop the treat, he comes towards it, click, and as he's getting the treat, we're taking a step back. He looks up, we drop the next treat, he takes a step towards that, click, and then we pivot and we turn. Now the dog and I are both facing this direction. I drop the treat behind my heel. Right before he gets it, I click and I'm taking a step. He looks up at me, I'm dropping another treat behind my heel. He takes a step towards it, I click. Now we're walking in the same direction. And again, this is in the house. Get to the point where you're doing 12 or 20 paces in the house consistently. Then come do it in your courtyard. When you do it in your courtyard, gradually you're adding 3 steps before you drop the treat, 4 steps. Eventually I want you going from each corner. So you're taking like 15 steps before you're dropping that treat. But you have to go very progressively, very slowly. He starts running around or moving ahead of you, go back to a previous number of steps. Now first you can do this without a leash, but it's probably a good idea to use the leash consistently. Now for leash handling, so hold the leash. So the leash goes from the dog up here and over and then it's hanging down and I'm gripping it and I'm putting the leash in my right hand and the clicker in my right hand. And I'm using my left hand. Did he steal my water bottle? And my left hand is the one where I treat him, and if I have a treat pouch, I like to put it here. So when I'm treating him, this is the one that's holding the leash. I'm like, here, treat, here, treat. My hand is very close to the deal. Now, if he starts kind of chewing on it like he was, move it here kind of in front of you. But if you're doing those treats so fast, he shouldn't have a need to go ahead and grab the treat pouch. He does that because he's frustrated. So if he starts jumping up, mouthing you, biting the leash, that's probably his indication I'm overly cranky. There we go. Winston! Winston! There you go, buddy. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. That's a good cue from Winston that he is tired. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off on this one. Now, if you have any questions, remember to message me. If I don't hear from you, I assume that means everything's going well. So message me, text me if you have any questions. Winston, sit one time, buddy. Winston, sit. Yes. This is my handsome buddy, Winston, who looks a little bit like Scooby. And this is Winston's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.